Hi, everybody, and welcome to Exegetically Speaking, a podcast of the friends and faculty of Wheaton College, Wheaton, Illinois, and the Lanier Theological Library in Houston, Texas. My name is David Capes, and I am the Senior Research Fellow at the Lanier Theological Library and a former dean up there in Wheaton at the School of Biblical and Theological Studies. Our purpose in these podcasts is really very simple. We want to promote the study of biblical languages, Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic, so we can read the Bible more faithfully, study it more fully, and not just read it, but to live it. Joining me today on Exegetically Speaking is Dr. John Laansma. He's the Gerald F. Hawthorne Professor of New Testament Greek and Exegesis, and he is the Department Chair for Modern and Classical Languages at Wheaton College. John, great to see you.
Hi, David. Good to see you, too.
Modern and classical languages. So for those who don't know, what are the classical languages you teach there at Wheaton College?
Well, Greek and Latin, of course, but we've stretched the category to include Hebrew.
Okay. So Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, which covers a whole lot of history. So you guys have had some changes to the program, and so let's talk a little bit about what those new possibilities are.
Thanks. Yeah, we did, and it's launching here this summer, 2020. At the bottom of the changes is the incorporation in the major of the beginning sequence, 101, 102, 201. Up till now, they have been prerequisites, just as for Spanish, German, French, Chinese. Those 3 semesters are prerequisites. From this summer on, they will count toward the major. So the major itself, which up till now is 32 hours, all of 300, 400 level work, will now require 2 of the 3 classical languages to the intermediate level. So you'll do 101, 102, 201 in Greek and Latin, or Latin and Greek, or Greek and Hebrew, or Greek and Latin, whichever 2 you want to match. 1 upper division class, and then senior seminar. And part of what that does for us is it enables a student, at least in theory, to finish it in 2 years, which has never been possible.
It's always taken 3 years before?
3 or even 4,
okay.
If they want to concentrate in Hebrew, and if they didn't start in the fall semester of freshman year, they had no hope of getting through.
That seemed to be a disincentive, I guess, there.
Many students don't figure it out until they're already here. And then, for Hebrew and Latin, it's too late.
So the major before was 32 hours. How many is it now?
Well, it's still 32 hours, but we're counting that beginning sequence.
So you haven't added courses to it. You've just included those freshman or beginning level courses.
Now, let me hasten to add, we're going to add as well an honors program, which we've never had before. And the honors program will end up being very much the same as the old major. So there's an additional 12 hours of upper division work that they'll do for the honors program. There's a thesis class. So those students, the traditional students who come in are very intent on languages, will find that they can still do what they did, but now in the honors program. And then it also opened up the possibility of what we call integrated majors, where they'll do 24 hours in classical languages and 16 hours in art or philosophy or history, or some other program. And 12 of those 16 hours in the other program can count toward a second major.
Oh, that's great. So you'll have 2 majors instead of 1 at that point.
Yeah.
And that's still possible within a 4-year process?
That one would probably, for most students, need to begin in their sophomore year, realistically, for the integrated major, because now you're doing 8 hours of upper division work for the integrated major in Greek or Latin or Hebrew, plus the 16 hours in the other program.
So what is the goal down the way? What do you hope to create?
Create a lot more flexibility for students, a lot more access for students, and ultimately to keep this kind of learning alive for another generation. When you look at the history of Wheaton College, in 1860, you couldn't be admitted into the college without Greek. If you didn't have Greek, you had to go to what was called the Wheaton Academy and do remedial work just to get admitted.
Ah, okay.
And as far as 1949, 1950, thereabouts, all BA students had to have at least 1 year of an ancient language. And of course, that's long gone by the boards. All that does is it marks out massive cultural shifts away from the classical languages. And that has really come home to roost over the last 10, 20 years or so.
So do students come then to study a single language at your place, or they come to study more than one?
Some students it's just one. I think the students who are passionate about languages, or they try one and they recognize its value, I bet the majority go on to do at least some of a second language, Greek and Hebrew or Greek and Latin.
When you think about the goal for you as a professor, and it's one thing, but what can students do with a degree in classical languages?
Oh, they do all kinds of things. I mean, obviously, many of them go on to biblical studies at the graduate level and beyond, maybe in higher education, maybe in the secondary translation. And some go into, a MA in classics. Those are sort of the obvious ones. But the truth is, many of our students go off into medicine, law, business, home life, all different kinds of directions. And at that level, you're talking about the value of a humanities education and just training up thinkers who know how to learn and have sharp minds.
People who can think and communicate and critically reason through all of life's in and outs. It's great. It's a great goal to have there, Dr. John Laansma. Great. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for this, David.
Thanks to Ian Rosine, Rebecca Larson, and Silvio Vasquez, who helped us produce this podcast. Thanks as well to John Laansma, our Wheaton-based director, who makes this podcast possible. We're grateful to Phil Keggy for our music. If you want to study biblical languages, then you need to consider Wheaton College. Whether you're an undergraduate or a graduate student, we have amazing programs, a first-rate faculty, and some of the best students in the world. So go to the website, www.wheaton.edu, and look for modern and classical languages. Get started today. If you have questions about this or any of our podcasts, we'd love to hear from you. If you have suggestions or questions about any passage in the Hebrew Bible or Greek New Testament, send us an email and we'll see if we can get one of our experts to weigh in on that for you. Our email is exegetically.speaking@wheaton.edu. That's exegetically.speaking@wheaton.edu. Thanks for listening.